Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from Fast Growth Services. Thank you for downloading the workbook entitled Sharpen Your Market Focus. Today I'm joined by Richard Strong, the Managing Director, i.e. MD, of a company called Caliva Process Solutions. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving up your precious time. Just tell us what Caliva does briefly.
Thank you, yes. Caliva develops, designs and manufactures equipment for the extrusion and spheronization of various formulations to make round perfect pellets, predominantly in the pharmaceutical industry, but elsewhere as well.
Okay. Behind me you have a beautiful pop-up display of a company called AmSafe. And you can see some of the fabulous products that they do for both military and for aviation. And the reason that's there is that we're actually at the headquarters of AmSafe in Bridport, where Richard was a senior executive for many years, but has now moved on to become MD. And he's going to share with us some of the experiences he's had with sharpening his market focus at this new company, and also some examples. Okay, the purpose of this workbook is twofold. One is to set the context, and secondly, to give you 3 or 4 valuable hints on how to use this particular workbook. The workbook is entitled Sharpen Your Market Focus. Emphasis on sharpen, emphasis on focus. I have in front of me a fat felt tip pen. You don't know what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do is press this as hard as I can into the fleshy part of my hand. So I'm pressing as hard as I can now and grimacing. It's not hurting at all actually, I don't know why I'm grimacing. And can you see there's just a bit of a mark there? Absolutely. I'm going to take a slightly narrower pen, that's a nylon tip with a flat tip, and using the same force, I'm going to press it in there. Same force. Now that is hurting quite a bit. Okay, get the idea? And you can certainly see that, I think you can see there. And now, thirdly, I'm going to take this very sharp biro, you can see there with the tip, and press it with the same force into the same place. Okay? What's likely to happen now?
I think you're going to get some pain.
Yeah, probably go through the skin, and this is poisonous ink. So, I know I'm keen to demonstrate sharpen your market focus. I'm not going to demonstrate that. So this is really a metaphor for many companies who have very unclear, very unsharp market focus. And despite putting a lot of effort into marketing and strategy, they make very little progress. Compared with those sort of companies with a razor sharp focus, with some effort, make great progress. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Can you give us an example in broad terms about how you've used this at Caliva?
Yes, I think an example would be our machines can be used in academia, in R&D and in large production scale. But most importantly for us, we focused on the academia with the idea that the students of today will be the designers and developers of formulation in business in years to come, and they will take that knowledge with them.
So that was your focus? Yeah.
That was our focus, to make sure we were in university faculties around the world, not just in the UK.
If I can use another example, I developed this workshop about 10 years ago when I was working with quite a large grower of plants, cut plants and potted plants. Very low profitability, very low sales, very little progress forward. And by redefining the focus, they moved from a business that sold to retail, sold to supermarkets, sold potted plants, sold cut plants, and they had about 30 different varieties of things. Okay? And the upshot of using this workshop 10 years ago was they made the decision, it was about a £10 million business, to only focus on potted plants and only 3 varieties, begonias, chrysanthemums and lilies, and only focused on supermarkets. So in England, all the begonias go to Tesco's, or the lilies go to Marks and Spencer's, and the chrysanthemums go to Sainsbury's. And they have 100% market penetration in all those three. Very tight market focus. And they've got dedicated plants, i.e. greenhouses, just for that. Huge change, very focused. And that's what today is all about. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So the second part of this video is to look at 3 or 4 specific hints for using this workbook. You've got your workbook in front of you. Richard, can I ask you to read the title page, please?
Yes, the Fast Growth Workbook for you to sharpen your market focus. The purpose of this workbook is for you to clarify your sales goals and to sharpen your market focus for achieving these goals. The goal is that over the next 12 months, through your sharper market focus, you gain enough profitable customers.
Which is what we really want.
Absolutely.
Enough or more than enough profitable customers. Okay, on the next page, and this is one of the shorter workbooks, certainly something you can do on your own in about an hour, very easily. Go around the loop once, and then maybe share the outcome with your team and go through it again. But it's short and sweet, as it should be, because it's called Sharpen Your Market Focus. Can you just read the top of page 1 for us, please, Richard?
Many successful companies use a pinpoint focus on their profitable customers. Other less successful companies often have a blunt approach to the markets they want to concentrate on and to the customers they want to serve. As a result, these companies waste a lot of their energy, time and resources to achieve their sales goals.
Back to the fat pen. And what I'm going to ask you to do here at the start of this workbook is to just assess yourself on a scale 1 to 10. 1 barely adequate, 10 being outstanding. Please rate how sharp is your market focus. Okay, just give yourself a score out of 10. Be objective, don't be overcritical. Just put it down. And then from that, what are your strategic conclusions? How long have you been at Caliva now?
Just on 2 years.
Okay. And where were you in terms of how sharp your market focus when you first arrived, and where are you now, do you think?
We were very reliant on the US market when I arrived, and that took a dive almost immediately on arrival. So our focus was to take the products that we have and move into Asia and Europe and in the UK. And 95% of our business in the last 18 months has come from that market with the US market. So product definition is the same, but the focus has moved away from the US to the rest of the world. And we've been successful in doing that, following very simple processes as laid out in the book.
Thank you. So, a couple of hints here. If you turn to page 2, hint number 1 really is clarify your sales goals. So from your strategic conclusions on page 1, what is the negative impact of not gaining enough profitable customers? Interesting, start with the negative. And secondly, how much time and money are you prepared to invest over the next 12 months to significantly increase your effectiveness in gaining enough profitable customers? Jot your thoughts down and come up with your sales goals. A lot of these workbooks work best when there's a very clear goal. In this case, it's a sales goal. Make sense? And we've done some work, haven't we, over the last year? And
we have indeed.
And you're seeing the benefits of that.
We have.
Yeah. And then, really, the heart of this workbook is page 3. And take my time on this one because it's an important, very important page. Basically, I define market focus as 3 things. One is A, what's the customer focus? Which customers are you focusing on? B, what's your product service focus, i.e. which are your 3 products and services for your ideal customers? And finally, C, what's your geographical focus? So where are the 3 main geographical areas which to concentrate on? Now, interesting you said about the USA versus the Asian market, which is that one there. We also mentioned academia versus other things. So a useful starting point is always start with the customer, then think about the product service focus, and then the geographical focus. I'd like you to use your imagination here, Richard. That is a salami, a salami sausage, okay? And what we're saying is, if you're cutting up a salami sausage, which is thick and juicy and going to be delicious, use a sharp knife and you do it in slices, yeah? And put it on your bread. So what I'm saying here is market focus, do a slice for customer focus, a slice for product service focus, and slice it again for geographical focus. Now there are some people, including Robert McRaith, who you know, who can do this in his head simultaneously. But for lesser mortals, I recommend doing it that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I think it's a very straightforward, simple process, which is often the best way of achieving that.
In the list of 50 workbooks, next to this one is this workbook here, which is entitled Decide Your Special Niche. And we're going to do that together. But I'm just recommending that people also download that one as well. It really is powerful, because once you've got a very sharp market focus, then you can think about defining your special niche. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
So just to sum up, a starting point for really generating the profitable ideal customers is to sharpen your market focus, to move away from a very blunt focus like that to a pinpoint focus like that. Get that sharpness and then move on to defining your special niche, and you'll be amazed at how rapid growth you can achieve in your company. Richard, may I thank you for giving up your precious time.
Pleasure.
And may I wish you every success with the next exciting development of Believer.
Thank you.